Hi everyone, my name is Amy Upham. I am an MPH candidate at Lenore Ryan University, and today I'm going to be talking about an article from January 29th, the News Tribune from Washington State, on a couple of kids who traveled from Washington State, Clark County, to Hawaii and were then quarantined. So as you're going to see as we go along in this presentation, Clark County had their own response, and then Hawaii took a certain response. So Hawaii's response, and it was Dr. Sarah Park of the health department, directed the health workers to quarantine the family with the children who developed the rash once they got to Hawaii until they were no longer contagious. So they contracted the illness in Washington, and then the rash appeared once they landed in Hawaii. And then after 4 days post-rash, they're no longer contagious. So on day 5, they could board the plane back to Washington State. The health department also urged doctors in the area to be vigilant for any signs of rash. They also named the dates in which the family was in Hawaii, even though they were quarantined for most of that time, just in case. So that contrasts somewhat with Washington State's response, which was no quarantine in Washington State, although they have declared a state of emergency, and that seems to be more to access funds to address the issue, because they've spent about $187,000 on it so far, and the crisis has been going on with measles for about a month. Washington has also urged individuals to call their doctor ahead of visiting so as not to spread to other patients. So the advice, so that's the intervention that sort of the two different public health departments have done. And then, of course, in any health communication strategy, you want to say, what can you do? So the advice that I read from a couple different articles, which I cited in my paper, were to call the Clark County Measles Outbreak Hotline. They have a separate hotline now devoted to it. Call your doctor, of course, with any symptoms versus going in to see them right away. And then getting the vaccine if you're not symptomatic. And if you get the vaccine within 2 to 3 days of exposure, it also can work. And the vaccine is 97% effective. So that's the pieces of advice that Washington State was giving, or is giving, I should say. So the reason why the quarantine in Hawaii caught my eye is because Buncombe County recently quarantined some individuals with who had the chicken pox. There ended up being 36 or so individuals at the Waldorf school. And they were actually quarantined not only from school, but from their homes, or to their homes from anywhere. And it was challenged in court, and the judge said, yes, it's okay to prevent them from going to school. It's not okay to keep them housebound. But that crucial part of the quarantine with school was upheld. And what's curious to me is that measles is 40 times more deadly than chickenpox. So of the 4 million people a year before the vaccine with chickenpox who used to get chickenpox, only 100 died of the 4 million. And before the 1963 measles vaccine, of the 500,000 who had measles every year in the United States, about 500 died. So that's a much bigger ratio. And also many individuals got encephalitis and were hospitalized with pneumonia from measles. So I'm interested to see how this goes. Hopefully it goes in a positive direction, although just a few days ago, they identified a few more cases of measles, and it's also now, I think, spread to Oregon State, and which is very close to Portland, this county in Washington. So anyway, thanks so much for listening, and let's hope this ends.